Hi, I'm Lawrence Price, and I'm here again to continuing our conversation around Lean Six Sigma and the DMAIC process. Today, I really want to spend some time talking about the measure phase. That is the second phase in the DMAIC process. So let me share my screen and kind of pull up a video a screen here for us to kind of continue our conversation. So here you see kind of a very abbreviated kind of a process map that kind of lays out kind of the things that a Lean Six Sigma practitioner is going to do during the measure phase. So just a reminder, this happens right after the define phase is really kind of done. So the first thing is really define the process measure. So how do we measure the problem kind of going forward, or at least maybe potentially looking historically? One thing that you see a lot of especially green belts have to do next is really collect process data. So there may not necessarily be historical information that you can just pull from. A lot of times you'll have to create or track some new data and do some sampling. Then, of course, check the quality of your data, whether it's the new process data that you just collected or if you're looking at historical data. And then start looking at the behavior of the data, right? So what is the data telling us, and get those preliminary discussions, and then understand whether or not the performance of the current process really meets customers' expectation, the customer needs, basically, is what our current state is. How is that matching up to what our customer has told us and communicated with us when we did our voice of the customer work in the define phase? So there's a lot of different tools that a person could use during the measure phase. And I'm just going to talk about one concept around KPIs. KPI stands for key performance indicators, but one concept around that, which is leading and lagging indicators. So just going to kind of jump out of this a little bit and kind of go a little bit deeper into our training materials and just and kind of talk about leading and lagging indicators. And I'll talk to it, but I'll just leave this section up on the screen. A lagging indicator is usually something that's measuring an output of something. And so usually a lagging indicator is a thing that is a measurement that you're going to have the most access to, the easiest access to, as far as understanding the current state. So for a great example of lagging indicators, it's usually like our financial metrics that we're looking at in business, but it can also be non-financial metrics. So for example, it could be employee turnover is a great example of a lagging indicator that you may readily have access to. And that might be something that you've already even communicated with your sponsor as you're kind of pulling your project charter together in your define phase. Is something that you wanted to work on. Customer retention could be something else that would be another example of a lagging indicator. So the great thing about lagging indicators is that that is usually the language within the organization that everyone is talking about, and they understand the problem or the project scope when you mention those things. The challenge with them, of course, is that they're not necessarily something you can directly influence. You know that there's something that's happening, that's occurring as an output of the organization, but as far as what things you need to tweak, those indicators usually don't give you insight into that. And that's what leads us going into leading indicators. A leading indicator is something that happens before the process or before the event occurs, right? So you have something that is happening inside the organization and it produces an output. That's what the lagging indicator is measuring. A leading indicator is something that you can measure before the event that will help predict what the lagging indicator is going to look like. So just sticking with the example of employee turnover, potential leading indicators could be something as such as how many performance reviews has the employee received from their supervisor. It could be absenteeism. So if we see a lot of absenteeism occurring, that's a predictor, potentially a predictor for future turnover. We could also talk about potential examples, maybe employee engagement scores and things of that nature, where you're looking for some type of leading indicator of something that is going to happen later on if we don't act. And so if you're able to identify leading indicators within your project, that gives you insight on when you go a little bit deeper into the DMAIC process and you're looking at the analyze phase where you're trying to identify root causes. And then certainly when you get to the improve phase, when you're looking for potential solutions that can drive action and drive an impact on those lagging indicators. So having this concept, or at least having this discussion within your project team, when you're going through the measure phase and saying, all right, I know that we're working on this particular lagging indicator, but we need to at least start thinking through what are some potential leading indicators that we need to manage kind of going forward. So I hope that this has been a great video for you. Definitely feel free to like this video and give us some feedback on it in the comments section. And definitely, I hope that you choose to be a subscriber to our channel. Thank you so much.